The wind howled across the dry plains of Silverback Ridge the night it happened. The night when rancher Eli Marston made the decision that would turn a quiet frontier town upside down and burn his name into its history forever. Eli had always been a man of few words and heavy burdens, his broad shoulders carrying the weight of a ranch inherited after both his parents died in the fever outbreak that swept the West 5 years earlier. Folks respected him, some feared him, and a few, like Mayor Clay Boone, envied the way the people trusted him more than their elected officials. But everything began to unravel the moment Eli brought a stranger, an unconscious wounded outlaw girl, back to his ranch. He had found her near Dead Crow Canyon, bleeding into the dust, clutching a tattered wanted poster with her own face on it. The poster claimed she'd robbed the Desert Rail treasury and killed 2 guards. But Eli, staring into her pale, terrified eyes as she whispered, "Don, don't do this," felt something he'd never felt before, doubt. She wasn't begging him to spare her or hide her. No, she was begging him not to help her. And that confused him more than anything. Yet something in her voice, in the frantic tremble of her hands, forced him to take her home against her will, knowing the law, and the town, would demand her head. Word spread fast. By sundown, torches flickered at the edge of his land. The townsfolk gathered like wolves circling injured prey. The mayor accused Eli of betrayal, calling him a protector of criminals. Preacher Dalton said a man who shields sin invites judgment. Even the sheriff, normally Eli's friend, warned him that harboring a fugitive meant siding against the entire territory. But Eli refused to hand her over. He tended her wounds, questioned her, tried to piece together the truth. And slowly she confessed with tears streaming silently down her face. She was there the night the treasury was robbed, yes, but not as a thief. She was a hostage taken by a ruthless gang called the Drifters, a gang so feared that even mentioning their name made most men check over their shoulders. The Drifters used her as a scapegoat, planting evidence to mark her as the killer, and the only reason she survived was because she escaped, as the gang argued over splitting the gold. But before Eli could fully grasp her story, the sheriff returned with a mob demanding justice. The outlaw girl grabbed Eli's hand and begged again, Don't do this. Don't protect me. They'll kill you. They'll burn your ranch." But Eli, his jaw hard as iron, stepped outside to face the torches and fury. He told the town the truth, told them she was no killer, told them he would not hand her over until the real criminals were caught. The crowd erupted. And then, the rancher did the one thing everyone begged him not to do. He fired a warning shot into the air, declaring anyone who stepped onto his land would face him standing between them and the girl. "If law can't deliver justice," Eli shouted over the crackle of torches and the roar of angry men, "then I damn sure will!" Silence fell like a hammer. The townsfolk stared in disbelief. The mayor's face turned red with rage, and the sheriff, seeing the rancher he respected now standing against the entire town, whispered, "Eli, what have you done?" By morning, the headline in Silverback Ridge's small paper read, "Rancher sides with fugitive. Whose side ice he really on?" The outrage grew like wildfire, but what no one knew, not yet, was that the Drifters were already riding toward town. And they weren't coming for the girl. They were coming for the man who saved her. Dawn cracked like a rifle shot across the horizon as Silverback Ridge prepared for the standoff of a lifetime, though most didn't yet know who the real enemy was or what kind of bloodshed was about to descend upon them. Eli Marston woke early, gripping his rifle, feeling the weight of choices made in the dark, choices the entire town hated him for. Inside his ranch house, the outlaw girl, whose name he now knew was Lila Hart, tried once more to convince him to give her up. Her voice shook with urgency, not fear for herself, but fear for him. "They're coming, Eli," she whispered as she peeked out the window. "The Drifters don't leave loose ends. They'll kill you, burn the town, take anyone they want. Please, don't do this." Eli placed a steady hand on her shoulder and said, "I'm not protecting a criminal. I'm protecting the truth." And that truth would soon come charging over the ridge in the form of 6 riders dressed in dust-black coats, riding with the confidence of men who feared absolutely nothing. The first to notice them wasn't Eli. It was an old ranch hand down the road who rang the warning bell. The sound echoed across the valley, sending families into their homes and men into the street with rifles. The sheriff, already torn between his badge and his friendship with Eli, rode hard to the ranch as the gang approached. "They're not here for the girl," Eli yelled before the sheriff could even dismount. "They're here because they know she talked." The sheriff hesitated, then handed Eli a deputy badge and said, "Then we stand together, or we fall. Alone." By the time the drifters reached the ranch, the town stood in a loose defensive line behind the sheriff, though many shouted angrily that this entire mess was Eli's fault. Their leader, Jonah Blacktooth, a cold-eyed killer with a grin carved like a scar, called out, "We ain't here for the town. We want the girl. She knows things she shouldn't." Eli stepped forward, rifle ready, and said, "She's innocent." Jonah's laugh slithered across the sand. "Son, innocents don't pay for the gold she saw us take." What followed was the kind of gunfight that becomes legend. Fast, brutal, and deafening. Bullets tore through the dust, horses screamed, men dropped into the dirt. Eli fought like a man possessed, driven not by anger but by a stubborn belief that justice mattered, even out here on a frontier where justice often came from the barrel of a gun. When Jonah tried circling toward the ranch to kill the girl himself, Eli took a shot that clipped the outlaw's shoulder, sending him tumbling from his horse. The sheriff tackled another gang member before being struck in the leg. Lila, despite Eli begging her to hide, grabbed a pistol and fired from a window to protect the very town hunting her. Her shot stopped the last drifter from stabbing a wounded ranch hand, proving for all to see that she wasn't the monster the wanted posters claimed. When the dust settled, Jonah Blacktooth was captured. 3 gang members were dead, and the survivors fled into the desert ashamed and broken. The sheriff, bleeding but alive, shouted to the town, "The girl's innocent. These men were the real thieves." The crowd fell silent. For the first time in 2 days, they looked at Eli not with anger, but with guilt. Mayor Boone stepped forward, hat in hand, face pale. "Eli, we were wrong," he admitted softly, but Eli didn't want apologies. He wanted the truth known. And more importantly, he wanted Lila safe. In the days that followed, Eli's ranch became a place of healing. The sheriff cleared Lila's name. Jonah was taken to federal custody, and the town slowly came to respect the rancher who stood alone against their outrage. Lila chose to leave at sunrise after everything settled, knowing a town once ready to hang her might never fully welcome her. But before she left, she asked Eli, "Why did you risk everything? Even your life?" Eli simply replied, "Because sometimes the right thing is the thing everybody else is too scared to do." And as she rode off, the sun touched the horizon in a blaze of gold, the kind of sunrise that marks the end of one story and the beginning of another. And for those watching this tale unfold on screen, they'd hear Eli's final words echo like a promise across the West. If you enjoyed this story, if you want more tales of courage, heartbreak, justice, and unforgettable Wild West twists, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell. More adventures are coming, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single one.